Hi, welcome to the Astral Realm. My name is Avanti. I will be your guide, and we finna get into it. This is technically the second episode, but this is the first episode where we're actually getting into the nitty gritty, getting into the meat, getting into the content, and the whole point of why we're here. Because the episode before this was just, the intro. So, what I really want to discuss for this episode is raising kids, okay? The reason I want to discuss this is because I'm a mom, right? And I'm always getting asked, are you going to have more children? Do you want any more? And people ask that whether you're in a relationship, whether you're not, whether you're a man or a woman, like the kids question comes up all the time. It does come up for women, I think, definitely more often, and women are more pressured into having kids. Obviously, it's their body, right? So ultimately, it is they have the ultimate decision. But the thing for me is, I'm always asked that casually, and I mean, it's a cute casual just question, you know what I'm saying, just to make conversation. But what I feel like isn't talked about enough is not just the hardships of really raising and taking care of a child, but not even speaking on the financial side of it, but the side of it that is like non-materialistic. To me, that is the hardest part of raising a child. And what do I mean? So basically what I'm getting at is, bro, we have to raise good human beings. Does anyone know like what that entails? You know what I'm saying? Like when it comes to the physical material stuff, it's honestly very simple. It's already like a road mapped out for us on what to do. You got to have money to take care of a child financially, right? So you get a job or you find a way to get money and to make money to take care of your child in a ways of food, clothes, shelter, right? Like those are like the basic necessities to raising a kid. And to me, those are the easiest things to obtain. But what we don't discuss is how to raise a little human to be successful in this crazy world. How to raise a human to be not just a good person, but, to be respectful, but don't accept disrespect, and to love themselves regardless of what anyone says or what anyone thinks, and how to instill all of the right morals into your child, how to teach your child mental health, good mental health, or how to, overcome times or days where your mental health isn't the best. Like the internal, I think that we can all agree at this point in our life that the internal care is not only the most important, but sometimes the most complex, because one, it's not tangible, we can't see it, right? So taking care of ourselves, not even just speaking on kids, but just in general, just think about it from the perspective of like, we have to take care of ourselves, right? Everyone has to literally like care for themselves to exist, right? So whenever we're taking care of ourselves physically, like I was saying before, you know, it's easy to get up and like make food and eat, go get water and go get a job or whatever, right? But like the internal, it's not something that we can see. It's not something that we can touch. It is not something that is tangible that we can hold and that we can mold into whatever we need it to be to sustain us. And so it's really the same concept with raising kids, bro. It's like, bro, how am I to teach this little person how to be the best version of themselves when I'm not even the best version of myself? Like I ask myself these questions, and I feel like in society we don't look at it that way, and we don't ask ourselves the right questions when it comes to a lot of things. But to this, it's like, you know, and it's no like judgment or shame to anyone who has kids or more than one, because I mean, obviously I'm a mom myself, so like it's no judgment. But it's like, now when I think about having kids, I don't think about just, can I take care of this kid financially? I think about, well, what do I have inside of me that I'm really able to give to another person, to give to a little innocent person who I'm responsible for giving it to? Like, whenever we become parents, we are responsible for not just caring for this child physically, but creating this child's internal health and, what we instill in them internally. So I just will ask myself, do I have the energy within me? Do I have the capacity? Do I have the bandwidth to really pour into this child like how they need it? You know what I'm saying? And they deserve 1,000%, because they didn't fucking ask to be here, right? Like just think about yourself growing up as a kid. I'm sure that we've all, most of us, if not all of us, most of us have lacked something in our childhood, right? It might be finances, or it might have been nurturing, or it might have been, something like more along the lines of like not receiving from your parents, like in that non-physical way. And we know that we deserve that as kids. And we have to think about, whenever we're having children and bringing children into this world, we have to think about, what our kids deserve. Do you really have the capacity to pour into three little individuals 1,000%, completely fill their cup? And honestly, in my humble opinion, I feel like if you ask yourself that question, like I ask myself that question, I'll tell you right now, my answer is absolutely fucking not. Okay? Again, how can I teach my son to be the best version of himself when I feel like I'm not? You know what I'm saying? I'm working on it. Like, that's the ultimate goal, right? But unfortunately, I have brought him into this situation where I haven't yet accomplished everything that I've wanted to accomplish. Ideally, that would come first, but that's not the reality of the situation. So why then would I bring in another child that I also have to do the same thing with, and I'm already not capable of even doing that for myself? I haven't reached the heights that I've wanted to, and I'm not saying that you just have to be like on top of the world before you have kids, but in a way, I kind of am. I really feel like, to create the best generation of children, to create the best version of a person, you have to have the right environment, right? You have to have the right environment. It's like you have to create the best nest possible for them to thrive in. You know how, like, when the chicken hatches the egg, that they have to sit on the egg and they have to nurture it, and they have to care for it, and it has to be the perfect temperature for it to even form into a live chicken. Like, that's the same analogy I would apply to kids. Like, we shouldn't be having kids and birthing them into a nest where the temperature isn't absolutely perfect. And some may argue perfection doesn't exist, but bitch, we should be as close as possible. Like, we should be as close as possible to creating the perfect environment, the perfect scenario, in order to create the best for our children. Don't we want that for our kids? right? So like I even think that this is something that should be talked about in sex ed. Like in sex ed in school, I don't even know if they still teach that shit anymore. Please let me know because I'm really curious. But in sex ed, all they talk about is like, they scare you with the STDs, and then they scare you with pregnancy, and like they talk about sexual health and all that stuff is like fine. That's all fine and dandy. That's great, right? And they talk about how hard it is. But again, they only speak about how hard it is in the realm of finances, or maybe even like time, which is another like great and important factor, right? Is time as well. But to me, the most important thing is creating and raising a child that can be the best person that they're able to be. And I think that that is something that is hard to do, especially if you haven't figured that out yet yourself. And I do think that within our society, we are just kind of quick to have children. We are just kind of quick to like it's become like, I'm not going to say it's become casual. It's probably honestly been the same throughout history. But I do feel like it does have like like having kids feels like a casual thing, and this is why I am totally behind those people who just absolutely never want to have children, because I'm at the point where I really don't know if I want to have anymore. I really do not know. Like honestly, when I'm asked, I lean more towards no because of the reasons that I'm telling you. And even when I get to the point where I feel like I could pour 100% of myself into my current child and another one, because obviously my cup is full, it would have to be full in that case. I still don't even know if I would, and of course maybe then I would feel different, but I still don't know if I would, because just of how intense and how massive that responsibility is. Children are a massive responsibility. You are completely and solely responsible for a human, bro. Not just financially, but what type of human are you creating that is going to grow up and go into this world, right? Because they don't just have to take care of themselves, but they need to take care of the world as well, in a way where it's like they're not wreaking havoc and a menace to society. And I know this is like an extreme way to like think of it, but like I was seriously thinking like, oh my god, okay, this is gonna sound crazy a little bit, but I was thinking the people that grow up to be murderers, rapists, or like just the crazy, like any type of person, like I'm sure, okay, well I was gonna say I'm sure that their parents didn't think they would turn out that way, but honestly I can't even say that, because they probably, it was probably a toxic environment. You know what I'm saying? Maybe not like 10 out of 10 times, but like probably very often it was an environment to really like fuck with the child's psyche and like make them like insane or whatever, right? Anyway, my whole point though is that, we just need to be more conscious of how we're raising our kids, and who we are teaching them to be. Do we have enough time in our schedule to really attend to this child in the way where we will be able to create the perfect environment for them to be able to be their best selves, grow up, go out into the world, be successful, no struggle, no, I don't want to say no hardships, because I mean, there's ups and downs, right? But like, you get what I'm saying? Like, just to be able to create the best situation for themselves, and to be able to be themselves and to love themselves, and to know what to do if maybe they're not feeling any self-love in that moment, and just little things like that. And I get it, like from a parent's perspective, especially like if you're already at the point where like you have a child like me, or you have multiple, or if you want more, I would say honestly, if you want more, I would definitely consider all of these things that I'm saying. Like, what do I really have to give a child? And again, not just financially and physically, but what else do I have to offer? Like, do I really have a perfect environment, or do I really have everything that I need inside of myself to give and implement inside of another human? Right. And honestly, I feel like if the answer is no, then you should probably wait. Of course, I can't tell nobody what to do, but just my opinion. And if you're already at the point where you have a child like me, or if you have multiple children, obviously all we can do now is just move forward doing the best that we can. And I see that a lot of us are doing that. Like, definitely, like nowadays, I see, we are talking more about mental health. We are talking more about like, we're just more conscious and more aware of, you know, our own traumas and how it turns up in our lives, and how it turns up in our parenting styles, and how it maybe affect our children and affect all of our relationships and affect how we just move in the world and just who and how we are as a person. And a lot of us are working to overcome that and heal that within ourselves so that we can be the best version of ourselves. And that's really all you can do at this point. All you can really do is just work to be that person who is at 100%, who can then give that same percentage to another, to your child. Because I know that, you know we don't always think about things in different ways, right? So like, the things that I'm saying may be new to you, like, or maybe you've never thought about it this way, or you've never, and that's okay, because we don't know until we know. We don't know until we're told. So all you can do is just take the information now and move forward, being, the better version of you, the best version of you, for your kids. Because it's because I don't want it to sound as if like I'm shaming or anything like that, because again, I'm a mom too. Like, I had my child at 18 years old. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Do you think that first of all, these thoughts didn't even come into my head until probably like a year ago. Number one, okay, and I'm 26 and I had my child at 18. Okay, he is now 8 years old. So like, basically what I'm getting at is that a lot of things we are just now figuring out. Like, life is a journey. Parenting life is a journey. We're going to always be learning, and our children are going to teach us, and we're going to continue to learn and continue to grow and continue to evolve and be better. And so that's just what this conversation is about. It's really just, I guess you could say, maybe like holding yourself not, I wouldn't say accountable, but holding yourself to a standard for your little one. Because I know that if you are a good parent, we all just want the best for our babies, bro. Like, that's all we want. Like, if you're a parent, and if you're a good parent, let me say that. If you're a good parent, your number one job is being a parent. Single mom, single dad, or if you're a married couple, like, it doesn't matter, honestly. Like, I mean, I definitely commend single parents, single moms and single dads, but like, parenting can be hard in any scenario that you're in, whether you're in a relationship, whether you are married, whether you're in a co-parenting situation. Like, it does not matter. Like, there can be, parenting can be hard in any situation. It doesn't matter. And so all we can do is just grow from here. And I do understand and know that healing is a journey. I don't even want to say it's hard. I just want to say that healing is a journey. And I don't want people to look at healing as like it's just this super daunting and super hard thing. Just look at it as if you are like walking through a valley, walking through a field, and yeah, there may be some dark flowers. There may be some vines and some flowers with thorns on them, and they may hurt if you touch them. They may be a little painful if you touch them. But ultimately, you are to walk through this valley, the valley of healing. And once you get to the other side, I promise you will look back and just be so grateful that you just took a walk down that path, took a walk through that valley and confronted the good and the bad things in your life. And you will look at and appreciate every flower, every rose, every tulip that you come across, whether it's a little ugly, whether it has withered and died, whether it has thorns and it hurt you a little bit, because you wouldn't be that person on the other side of that valley without everything that valley entailed, without all of those ugly and beautiful things that make up who you are. And once you reach that other side, please know and understand that you can now move forward and choose your own path and choose how your new valley will look for you. And in turn, that will allow us to be who we need to be for our babies so that we can raise them to be exactly who they need to be for themselves. Because, ideally, we will not always be here for them. And we want to make sure that we are giving them every single thing that they need to thrive. That is the goal, not to survive, not to live, but to thrive. And something else that I did want to mention was that, because that was a good little outro, but now I'm finna have to add something else. But something else that I wanted to mention was that I also don't want to raise my child to be a bot. So throughout this podcast, you're gonna hear me say terms like bot, which is basically the same thing as a sheep in society. And if you don't know what those terms mean, it just means basically somebody who is not quote unquote woke. And I use the word aware interchangeably with the word woke because I don't care for the word woke because, it's just kind of been like it's just diluted, it's just overused. But yeah, I don't want to raise a bot of a child. Like, I was raised as a bot. We were all pretty much raised as a bot unless you just had woke ass parents, but like most of us didn't have conscious parents. So we all experienced we were all brainwashed through school, brainwashed through society, and a lot of us still are, unfortunately. So my whole point though is that, you know, that is another, I wouldn't even say a concern of mine, but just something else that I personally have to tackle with my child because my child is currently in public school. I don't love that, but that's what it is at the moment. And it's like having to do damage control so that he is not just completely consumed by the same brainwashing effects that we were subjected to. So that is just another layer of the non-physical things that I think is very important to raising a kid, raising a conscious kid, raising a kid that is aware of, you know, what the fuck is really going on. Okay? And it don't even have to be on no super, super duper deep shit, but just in a way of like, just to be just a little consciousness. Like, let's be a little conscious about what's going on in the world and stuff. And honestly, most of that comes with just age because they're so young. Like, my son is like, he's only 8. Literally just turned 8 in March. So, that's not something that I'm like too concerned with at the moment, like, because he wouldn't even understand half the stuff. But I be plugging a little stuff in there though. But that's just something else that I find very important when it comes to being a conscious parent myself, right? Like, we want to raise, like, if you're a conscious parent, if you are aware, you like that's probably like at least top 3 most important things when it comes to raising your kid. You can't be conscious and have a bot ass, sheep ass child. It's just like your soul will not rest. You will not be satisfied. So that is something that is very important to me. All right, so we're gonna get ready to close out this episode. I think this was a great discussion. What do y'all think? Y'all, please let me know. Like, please let me know because I just love feedback, like good or bad. Don't be a bitch, but like I love constructive criticism. This is technically like my first episode, so anyway, I love this conversation because I love the babies. The future generation is like extremely important. They are literally going to shape the new world, the new earth. They are literally going to be the ones left here with the world in their hands, creating the new state of the world. They are the literal future. They are the future generation. So, who we shape them to be is how we're going to shape their lives and, so on and so forth. And that is an extremely important job. So I just encourage all of us to do our best with raising ourselves and raising our babies so that they can thrive and be their best selves. So I appreciate you for listening and watching, and I thank you so much. I'm so grateful for all the ears that are listening and all the eyes that are watching. Anyway, we are now leaving the astral realm, and I will see you here next time. Bye.